Howdy guys, Jimmy Song here. In this video, I'm going to talk about personal responsibility and specifically how Bitcoin really encourages that. Now, I put out a tweet, I think last week, and basically, let me pull it up. Let me see, where is it? Yeah, it said, for many young people, Bitcoin is the first thing that they truly are responsible for. Everything else has a safety net, a way to undo things should you screw up. It's the antithesis of the you deserve BS that they've grown up with and the first real taste of reality. So I wanted to expound on those thoughts a little bit. The thing about Bitcoin that's really interesting is that it really is a bearer instrument. And that means that if you lose it, you really lose it. It's literally like having a gold bar, buried in your backyard or something like that. If somebody if you lose that gold bar, you've lost everything, right? Like if you lose your phone somewhere, it's gone, right? Maybe there's tracking or something like that, but essentially they can never turn it on or turn it off and put it into a position where you can't go and get it. It's a real thing that you can possess. And for a lot of young people, it's something that they possess that appreciates in value. And it's something that they really, really want to keep possession of. And that brings us to personal responsibility, because that's a large part of what personal responsibility is. It's the ability to keep possession of something without losing it and keeping it secure. And in this day and age, oftentimes that involves keeping possession of your digital stuff, your digital identity. What is identity theft these days, other than somebody getting all your information and being able to do things with it that you wouldn't otherwise do? It's and that is very appropriate, because what we've been taught for or what people have gotten used to over the last 100 years, ever since fiat money has become prominent, is that there's a backstop or a way to undo everything, right? Some way of unbreaking Humpty Dumpty. And yeah, safety net is nice, especially if you lose stuff or do something else. But it's kind of a reliance on somebody else, right? It's kind of like if your kids are and it is appropriate for kids, by the way. If your kids are trying to do something and they screw up, you want that to be somewhat reversible, especially if it's permanent. You don't want everything to be dismemberment or something like that. That's completely permanent. Instead, you want changes to be reversible, or consequences to not be that severe, at least at an early age. The thing about society today is that it's extended that pretty much through your whole life, right? Even if you don't save for retirement or whatever, you're forced to put money into Social Security, or if you're in another country, I think it's called a pension or something else, and essentially forced to save for the future. It's mandating that behavior. It's giving you sort of a safety net in case you're not wise enough to figure that out on your own. And that's nice in some ways, and it does, give you a way out if you happen to lose everything. But it also puts less skin in the game, right? Because in a way, even if you screw up the worst possible way, I guess worst possible way is death or something like that. But short of that, there are ways to reverse almost everything, and you can get out of the bad choices that you've made. And the thing about that is, if you can reverse bad choices that you made, you're more incentivized to make those bad choices, and you don't really end up learning a lot, other than, it's going to cost me this much to go and reverse that decision, something like that. So in a way, what Bitcoin does is it makes you more virtuous. It makes you more personally responsible for things, not just Bitcoin, but other things. Because once you start figuring out, okay, well, I need to back up this private key and I need to make sure that, that I can access it and so on. And, if you do that with that, then you realize, okay, well, there are all these other digital things. And if we had that for website logins, you would never have a forgot my password link, right? Like, if it was like logging in with your private key by signing some message or something like that, it would be very hard to hack because hackers would essentially have to get your private key. But you wouldn't have that safety net of like forgot my password and then it goes back to your email. Right now, it is that whole system is so fragile in part because people want that reversibility. They want that safety net. And honestly, it would, in some cases, be a lot better if you didn't have that safety net and that it was lost forever if you screwed up. That way, you would take much better care of it instead of thinking that, oh, it's mine and therefore I'm going to have some recourse to it, because that's exactly how centralized entities take control of your stuff, as they regulate it away or tax it or do something to make it very inconvenient for you. Anyway, hope that helps you. This song is done.